The sun burned fiercely that afternoon as billionaire Richard Thompson stepped out of his car and made his way toward the supermarket. He had come alone, running a quick errand for his wife, Linda. Just as he reached the entrance, a faint sound stopped him. It was a soft cry, filled with pain. He turned and saw a thin girl, no older than 12, sitting on the ground near the gate. Her clothes were torn and dusty, her eyes swollen from tears. In her arms lay a tiny baby, barely 6 months old, wailing helplessly. Richard froze. Unlike the others passing by without a glance, he couldn't look away. The girl wasn't begging. She just clutched the baby tightly, whispering to calm him, but hunger made the cries sharper. His chest tightened as he knelt beside her. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Mary," she whispered. "And the baby?" "My brother. His name is David. He's hungry. I don't know what to do." Richard swallowed hard. "Where are your parents?" Her lips trembled. "They died in an accident. We've been sleeping outside for 2 weeks. I tried to beg, but people push me away. I don't want to steal. I just want to feed him." He looked at the baby's frail body, his lips cracked and his cries growing weaker. Something deep inside Richard broke. This was more than pity. It felt like a duty. He knew what he had to do. "Come with me," he said gently. Mary's eyes widened. "Where?" "My home. You and the baby will be safe there." She hesitated. "But why? You don't even know me." Richard's voice was steady. "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. Now it's my turn." Slowly, Mary got up, clutching her brother as Richard led them to his car. The short drive felt unreal to her, almost like a dream. But when they arrived at his mansion, her steps faltered. She froze at the gate. "I don't belong here," she murmured. "This place is too beautiful." Richard gave a warm smile. "It's your home now." Inside, everything seemed larger than life. Moments later, Linda came downstairs. Elegant and poised, she stopped abruptly when she saw Mary holding the baby. "What is going on here?" she asked sharply. Richard raised a calming hand. "Let's talk upstairs." Mary stood awkwardly in the living room, rocking the baby nervously, while Richard and Linda entered their bedroom. Linda turned with suspicion. "Who is that girl? And whose baby is that?" "I found them outside the supermarket," Richard explained. "They were starving. I couldn't leave them there." Her eyes narrowed. "So you just brought strangers into our home? Do you even know her?" "No," he admitted. "She's only 12, her parents are gone, and the baby is her brother. They've been on the streets. I couldn't ignore them." Linda's voice grew sharp. "Or are you hiding something? Is that your child, Richard? Did you get someone pregnant and now you're dragging them here?" His eyes widened in disbelief. "What? No. How can you even think that?" "Because you've been distant. Quiet. And suddenly you bring a girl and a baby into this house. What am I supposed to believe?" He stepped closer, his tone firm. "Linda, look at me. I swear on everything I love. That baby isn't mine. I don't know the girl. I just couldn't abandon them." But Linda shook her head. "I won't take care of someone else's children. This isn't what I agreed to." "You don't have to," Richard replied gently. "Rose can help. I'll hire a nanny. You won't be burdened." Her face hardened. "So now you make decisions without me." "I had no choice," he said quietly. "I saw a starving baby. What was I supposed to do? Look away." Without another word, Linda turned and left the room. Richard stood alone, heavy with guilt and resolve. Back in the living room, Mary lowered her gaze. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to cause trouble. We can leave." "You're not going anywhere," Richard said firmly. "This is your home now." At that moment, Rose, the maid, walked in. She stopped, surprised at the sight of the girl. "Sir?" she asked cautiously. "Her name is Mary," Richard explained. "That's her baby brother. They'll be staying here." Rose's expression softened. She nodded at Mary. "Don't worry, child. You're safe now." Richard smiled gently. "Rose will help you. She'll get you food, a bath and clean clothes." Mary's lips curved into a weak smile. She followed Rose, who carried the baby to wash him carefully. For the first time in days, the baby stopped crying, making small soft sounds. Mary touched the sheets in the guest room, amazed at their softness. It felt unreal, almost like a dream she feared would end. When Rose returned with food, Mary ate cautiously, as though it might vanish. Richard entered and watched her. She paused and whispered, "Thank you, sir. For everything." "You don't need to thank me," he said gently. "Just rest. Tomorrow will be better." "I'll try not to cause problems," she said. "You're not causing any. You deserve peace too." That night, Richard barely slept. He kept seeing Mary's fragile face and hearing David's desperate cries. By morning, his mind was made up. Shelter and food weren't enough. If Mary was to have a future, she needed school. He sat in the sitting room, waiting. Minutes later, Linda came downstairs. She didn't greet him. Richard studied Linda quietly before speaking. "Linda," he said evenly, "I want to enroll Mary in school." Her brows arched. "What did you just say?" "I want to put Mary in school," he repeated firmly. Linda's eyes widened. "They just arrived yesterday, Richard." "Yesterday? And you're already planning to send her to school? Tell me the truth. Is this because I don't have children of my own? Is that why you're so desperate to treat another woman's child as your daughter?" His jaw tightened. "Linda, what's wrong with helping a child who has no one? She's only 12. Out there on the streets, anything could happen. She could be hurt, taken, even worse. Do you remember what I told you about my sister? She was only 15 when she was kidnapped. I never saw her again. And my mother, her grief killed her. That pain lives in me every single day. If I can stop another child from facing the same fate, I will." Linda's voice turned cold. "That was your family, Richard. This situation is different." "No," he answered quickly. "Pain is the same, loss is the same. That girl has no parents, no one to fight for her. If we turn our backs, what do you think will happen to her? Do you want her ending up in danger when we could have given her a chance?" Linda sighed sharply. "Why can't you take them to an orphanage? At least there, they'll be around other children, with trained people to care for them. They'll eat, they'll be safe. You can visit whenever you want." Richard's tone hardened. "Never. I won't send them to an orphanage. Do you know how many children suffer in those places? Some run away. Some are never adopted. I will not abandon them. Not while I'm alive." Her face twisted. "So you've already decided without me. And you expect me to accept it?" "I'm telling you what's right," Richard said firmly. "Yes, I've made the decision because time is precious when a child's life is at risk. I will keep helping the helpless, and you can't stop me. You need to accept it." Her eyes narrowed. "Or else what, Richard? You'll throw me out of this house." He held her gaze. "I'm saying you must decide who you want to be. Someone who ignores innocent children, or someone who gives them a future." "I already know who I am." Linda's voice rose. "You think you're so noble. But you're forgetting something. This is my home too. You don't get to bring strangers here without asking me." His voice shook with anger. "Sometimes, Linda, you don't wait for permission to do the right thing. You just do it." "That's exactly what I'm doing now." He turned and walked out, leaving her fuming in silence. A week later, after endless tension, Richard had already arranged for Mary to begin at a nearby private school. One evening, he returned from work with a serious expression and found Linda in the living room. "Linda," he began, "there's something I need to tell you. My company is sending me for a 1-month training abroad. I'll be leaving in a few days." Her face brightened instantly. "That's great news," she said quickly. He blinked. "Great news? Shouldn't you be sad your husband is leaving for a month?" She gave a faint smile. "Of course I'm sad. But it's good for your career, and maybe the house will be a little calmer." Richard stared, disappointment heavy in his chest. Instead of missing him, she looked relieved. He sighed quietly. "All right," he said. "If that's how you feel." He let it go, unwilling to push further. Later that night, he went to the guest room. Mary sat on the bed, reading aloud slowly, her voice stumbling over words. He smiled warmly. "Good evening, sir," she greeted, her face lighting up. He sat beside her. "Mary, I have something important to tell you. Daddy has to travel for 1 month. My company wants me abroad for training. Her smile faded. 1 month? That's a long time. I know, he said gently. But it's something I must do. While I'm gone, you must study hard and help Auntie Rose. She'll look after David while you're at school. Mary nodded. Yes, sir. I mean yes. He chuckled. Don't call me sir anymore. Call me Daddy. From today, I'm your daddy, all right? Her eyes sparkled and a shy smile spread across her face. Okay, Daddy. Thank you for helping me and David. He held her small hand. You don't need to thank me. Just grow into a good person. That will be thanks enough. I'll miss you, she whispered. Don't worry. I'll call Mommy every day to ask about you and David. Be good, listen to Auntie Rose, and focus on school. I promise, Daddy. 2 days after Richard's departure, the house felt different. Mary was at school, Rose had gone to the market, and Linda was alone in the mansion with baby David. His cries soon echoed through the halls. At first, she ignored them, but the sound grew louder, grating on her nerves. With irritation building, she finally pushed open the guest room door. David lay on the bed, his tiny fists waving, his face red from crying. Linda didn't bend to comfort him. She stood stiffly at the bedside, her voice sharp and bitter. I want you and your sister out of this house. I don't like you here. You've stolen my husband's attention. All his love, all his care. He now shares it with you and that witch of a sister. She stepped closer, glaring at the helpless baby. He no longer looks at me the same. He no longer cares for me like before. It's because of you. Because of both of you. That's why your parents are gone. They left you in this world to destroy my peace. David wailed louder, his small body trembling. But her words only grew colder. I wish your sister had never met my husband. Everything changed the day you stepped into this house. Her anger boiled as she turned away, leaving the crying infant alone. Minutes later, Rose returned from the market. The sound of David's cries pulled her upstairs in alarm. She found him lying on the bed, his tiny hands reaching desperately, his face flushed with tears. Her heart sank. She rushed forward, scooping him into her arms. Shoo! It's okay, baby. Auntie Rose is here. She rocked him gently, pulling out the small bottle of milk she had prepared earlier. Slowly, she fed him, humming a soft tune. Within minutes, the baby quieted, his breathing calm as he drank. Rose held him close until his eyes fluttered shut and he drifted into sleep. She gently placed David back on the bed, covering him with a thin blanket. With determination, Rose walked to the living room where Linda sat scrolling through her phone. Madam, Rose began softly, baby David was crying so much. You were here, but you didn't carry him. Why, madam? Linda lowered her phone slowly, her eyes narrowing. Rose, mind your business, she snapped. Rose frowned slightly. Madam, I only said it because he's just a baby. He needed comfort. Linda's voice cut like a blade. If you ever speak to me like this again, I will throw you out before my husband returns. Do you hear me? Keep your mouth shut and stay in your place. Rose lowered her gaze, her heart heavy with pain and anger. Yes, madam, she whispered, then walked away quietly. Not long after, Linda's phone rang. Richard's name flashed on the screen. She quickly cleared her throat and put on a sweet tone. Hello, my love. Hi, babe, Richard said warmly. I just wanted to check on the kids. How's everyone? Linda forced a smile into her voice. Oh, they're fine. I just fed David, and he's sleeping peacefully. Mary is at school. Everyone is well, my love. Richard sighed with relief. Thank you so much, babe. This is why I love you. Looking after them when I'm not around means everything to me. Linda let out a soft laugh. Anything for you, dear. When the call ended, the sweetness vanished from her face, replaced by cold anger. She muttered bitterly. This man is truly foolish. Soon he'll see who I really am. The next day, a knock sounded at the door. Linda opened it to find her best friend, Betty, smiling brightly. Linda, my dear, Betty greeted, stepping inside without hesitation. Betty, what a surprise, Linda said with a faint smile. Sit. Let me get you something. No need, Betty replied, sitting comfortably. I won't stay long. I came to check on you and share something interesting. Linda raised a brow. What is it? Betty leaned forward. That little girl your husband brought here, the one going to school now. Have you checked how much her school fees are? Linda shook her head. No, why? Betty smirked. 5 million naira. For just 1 year. I checked myself. Linda's eyes widened. What? 5 million? Yes, Betty confirmed. That's the kind of money your husband is wasting on those children. Which is, if you ask me, probably the reason their parents are no longer alive. Linda clenched her jaw. So he's throwing millions at them just like that. Betty leaned closer. And you allowed it. You should never have let them into your home. Linda gave a bitter laugh. Do you think I didn't try? I told that foolish man to take them to an orphanage, but he refused. Betty's eyes gleamed knowingly. Do you know why he refused? Linda narrowed her eyes. Why? Betty smirked. Because they're his children. Linda stiffened. No, I don't believe that. I'm not sure. Keep fooling yourself, Betty scoffed. You've been married 15 years without a child. Do you think he hasn't had another woman outside? Wake up, Linda. He's using you to raise his own children. Linda swallowed hard, her mind racing. So what should I do? Betty lowered her voice. First, stop that girl from going to school. Her mates are on the streets hawking, suffering to survive. Why should she be in a rich man's school while you're treated like a fool? If she must learn, let her suffer like the rest. And that maid, Rose, if she dares interfere again, send her packing before Richard returns. Deal with them now before they destroy your home. Linda sat silently, then a slow, wicked smile spread across her face. Thank you, my friend. You've opened my eyes. Good, Betty said with satisfaction. A woman who refuses to use her brain will cry in the end. Don't be that woman. After Betty left, Linda whispered to herself, Mary, you're about to meet the real me. The next morning, Mary stepped out in her clean school uniform, her face glowing with excitement as she waited for the bus. Linda was already at the gate, her expression cold. Where do you think you're going? She asked sharply. Mary stopped, confused. To school, Ma. Go back inside and change, Linda ordered. Mary blinked. Ma. I said change, Linda repeated firmly. You're not going to school today, or any other day. Mary's eyes widened. But why, Ma? Linda stepped closer, her tone cutting. I already called your school. You're not a student there anymore. Children like you belong on the streets hawking like your mates, not wearing fine uniforms. Not while I'm alive. Tears welled in Mary's eyes. But Daddy. Don't you dare mention that man's name to me, Linda snapped. He's wasting his money on you and your witch brother. Go and take off that uniform before I throw you out. Mary's lips trembled. Please, Ma, I promised Daddy I would study hard. Linda's face hardened. Your promise means nothing to me. School is for children whose parents pay their way, not for people who destroyed theirs and now live on another man's sweat. Mary turned slowly, her legs weak, tears spilling as she walked back to the guest room. She shut the door and leaned against it, sobbing quietly so David wouldn't wake. The dream she had promised Richard felt crushed before it even began. Meanwhile, Linda picked up her phone and dialed Betty. It's done, she said coldly. No more school for that girl. Moments later, Rose entered and, hearing what had happened, approached Linda politely. Madam, sorry to disturb you. Mary told me everything. That's not fair, Ma. She is just a child, and she needs her education. Besides, my boss promised her. Please, forgive her if she offended you. Linda's eyes darkened instantly. How dare you? You miserable village girl. You poor empty thing. How dare you speak to me like this in my own house? Rose's chest tightened, but she spoke calmly. I am only speaking for the child, Ma. Shut up. Linda snapped, stepping closer, her face twisted with rage. I'm beginning to suspect you. Richard must be sleeping with you. That's why you defend them. Rose's eyes widened in shock. Madam. No. I would never. Linda waved her hand dismissively. Pack your useless things and leave my house now. Women like you pretend to be humble but secretly want to steal husbands. Not here. Rose's voice shook. Please, madam, Don't send me away. If I leave, who will care for Mary and David when my boss is gone? At least let me stay until he returns. Shut your mouth, Linda barked. Pack your things immediately. And listen well. If you dare call Richard to tell him anything, you know who my father is. Your family will vanish without a trace. Just try me. Rose's hands trembled. My mouth is shut, Ma. I won't say anything. Please don't harm my family. Linda smirked coldly. Good. Now get out of my sight. Rose left the mansion quietly, her small bag in hand. From upstairs, Mary stood at the window, watching her walk out through the gate. Tears filled her eyes as her chest tightened. Oh God, what kind of life is this? Auntie Rose is gone, and Daddy hasn't returned. Please God, save me and my little brother. Downstairs, Linda was back in the living room when Richard's call came through. His voice was warm. Babe, I miss you so much. I can't wait to get home to my family. Linda smiled sweetly, her tone dripping with affection. We miss you too, darling. How's Mary? Richard asked. She's in school, Linda lied smoothly. And David? I just fed him. He's asleep now. Richard hesitated for a moment. And Rose? Where is she? She went to the market, Linda answered quickly. Why is she always at the market whenever I call? I told you to get her a phone, but you refused, Richard said suspiciously. Linda's tone hardened. Why do you want to talk to her? Is she your side chick? Tell me the truth. Richard sounded shocked. What? No, never. It's fine. Forget it, Linda snapped, then ended the call. A sly smile spread across her face as she whispered to herself, Foolish man. The next morning, the house was quiet except for the faint cries of baby David upstairs. Mary had been trying to calm him, but his cries only grew louder. She knew why. There was no milk left. The tin had finished the night before, and Rose, who always found a way to provide more, was gone. Mary walked into the living room where Linda sat comfortably. She stood silently for a moment before speaking in a trembling voice. Ma, baby David is crying. There's no milk. Linda looked up lazily, her expression cold. And so? Mary swallowed. Please, Ma, can we get some? He's very hungry. Linda smirked. Nothing is free in this house. If you want him to eat, you'll have to work. Go hawk on the street. If you don't, then let him cry. Missing a meal or two won't kill him. Mary's heart sank, but she nodded quickly. Okay, Ma, I'll do it. Please, while I'm gone, help me carry him if he cries. Linda's eyes widened in mock disbelief. Are you normal? Did you just order me around in my husband's house? Mary stepped back, frightened. I'm sorry, Ma. I didn't mean. Shut up. Linda barked. She went to the kitchen, filled a tray with bananas from the fridge, and handed it to Mary. Here. Sell these. Don't come back until they're finished. Mary lowered her head. Yes, Ma. She balanced the tray and stepped outside. The morning sun touched her face, but it couldn't warm her heart. She walked down the street, her voice faint as she called, Banana, sweet banana for sale. Each step felt heavy, her chest burdened with sadness. She thought of her school uniform folded neatly in her room, the books she once loved, and the promise she made to Richard. Now she was hawking to feed her baby brother. She whispered under her breath, God, please protect David. Don't let anything bad happen while I'm gone. Inside the guest room, David was still crying, his tiny fists waving helplessly. Linda stood at the door, her eyes filled with bitterness. You and your sister are the same. Evil. You came here to destroy my marriage and steal my husband's heart. But I see through you. David's cries grew louder, his face red with hunger, but Linda only turned away. Cry all you want. No one is coming for you. When your sister returns, she can deal with you. She went back to the kitchen, humming as she made tea. The sound of David's sobs carried through the house, but she ignored it. Upstairs, his small body shook as the tears soaked his cheeks. His cries grew weak, his lips trembling. Then suddenly, the air shifted. By the bed stood a tall figure clothed in white, glowing softly. The angel's eyes radiated peace as they stepped closer, carrying a warm bottle of milk. Hush, little one, the angel whispered gently. You are not alone. They lifted David with tender arms and pressed the bottle to his lips. He drank eagerly, the warmth filling his tiny stomach. Slowly, his cries faded into quiet breaths, and soon he drifted into a peaceful sleep. The angel smiled, covered him with a blanket, and whispered, "You are protected. No evil will harm you or your sister. Help will come." Just as silently, they disappeared, leaving behind a calm, glowing peace. Downstairs, Linda paused, tilting her head. Humph. That witch boy finally stopped crying. Maybe he's dead. Who cares? She smirked and sipped her tea. By late afternoon, Mary returned, her small feet aching from walking all day under the sun. The tray was empty. She placed it on the floor before Linda. "Ma, I sold everything. And one man gave me money." Linda's head lifted sharply. "What do you mean money? How much?" Mary pulled out crisp notes. 20,000 naira. "Ma. He said I was too small to be hawking. He bought all the bananas and gave me this to take care of my brother." Linda's eyes narrowed. "So you took money from a man at your age?" Mary shook her head desperately. "No, Ma. He was just kind. I didn't ask. He said I should stop hawking." "Liar," Linda spat. "I know girls like you. That's how you start, accepting gifts, doing things you shouldn't under my roof. You disgust me. Because of this, you'll sleep tonight without food." Mary's eyes filled with tears. "Please, Ma, I haven't eaten all day." "Shut your mouth," Linda snapped. "Witches don't eat in my house. And tomorrow, you'll hawk again. This time, don't you dare come back with money from strange men." Mary bowed her head. "Yes, Ma." She walked slowly back to the guest room, her tears falling. Inside, she found David sleeping peacefully, his small hand resting near his cheek. She knelt by the bed and whispered, "Don't worry, little one. Even if I go hungry, I'll make sure you eat. I'll protect you." 3 weeks passed since Richard traveled. In that time, Mary's life had become endless hawking, hunger, and Linda's cruelty. No school, no books, only struggle. That morning, she left early with a tray of oranges, the cool air brushing her face as she whispered her prayer. "God, please help us. God, please keep David safe until I come back." Not long after she whispered that prayer, Richard's call came through. Linda was in the living room when her phone buzzed. She sighed, forced a sweet smile into her voice, and answered. "Hello, my love," she cooed. "Linda," Richard's tone was sharp. "I just got a call from Mary's school. They said she hasn't been in class for weeks. The teacher told me you claimed she was sick." "Is that true?" Linda's lips curved slightly. "Yes, of course. She was unwell. I didn't want to worry you, but don't stress. She's getting better now." Richard's voice hardened. "I want to see her on a video call." Annoyance flickered across Linda's eyes. "No, she's asleep right now. Don't disturb her." "What about David? Let me see him." "No," she snapped quickly. "He's sleeping too." There was a pause, and then Richard asked quietly, "Where is Rose?" Linda's mind raced. "Rose? Oh. She ran off with a man last night. I was about to call you when you called me." "Ran away? Rose?" Richard muttered in disbelief. "Yes," Linda said smoothly. "She's gone. That's what these village girls do. No loyalty." "I don't believe that," Richard replied firmly. "Rose is a good girl. She wouldn't do something like that." Linda's tone sharpened. "So you trust a village girl more than me?" Richard sighed. "I don't want to argue. Just call me the moment Mary and David wake up. I need to see them myself." "Of course," Linda said sweetly. But as soon as the call ended, her sweetness vanished. She muttered under her breath, "That man must be blind." A sly smile crossed her lips as she scrolled through her recent calls and dialed a familiar number. "Hello, darling," she purred when the man answered. "Are you free this weekend?" "Yes, baby," he replied eagerly. "Good. Come over. My husband will be back next week, so let's enjoy ourselves before then." Her laughter was low and dangerous. She ended the call and leaned back, feeling pleased. Far away, Mary's small voice echoed, "Oranges for sale." She sat under the burning sun with her tray, eyes swollen from crying. She hadn't sold a single orange since morning. Her throat was dry, her little body ached, and she couldn't stop thinking of David at home, probably crying for milk. "Oh God," she whispered. "Please take care of him. Don't let anything happen while I'm here." Suddenly a voice called out, "Mary!" She turned and gasped. "Auntie Rose." She jumped up, almost knocking over her tray, and ran into Rose's arms. "Oh, my child," Rose whispered, hugging her tightly. "Why are you here like this?" Mary's lips trembled. "Auntie, why did you leave us? Since you went away, we've been suffering. David cries for milk all the time. Auntie Linda stopped me from going to school. She makes me hawk every day. Sometimes she doesn't even give me food." Rose's eyes filled with pain and anger. She held Mary's shoulders firmly. "Enough. Your suffering ends today." Mary's eyes widened with hope. "But what can we do? She said she would hurt your family if you told Daddy." Rose gave a small, determined smile. "I have a phone now. Let's call your father." Right there on the roadside, Rose dialed Richard. "Rose? Where have you been?" "Linda told me." "Sir, please listen," Rose cut in. "Linda has been lying. She threw me out. Since then, Mary hasn't gone to school. She makes her hawk all day under the sun. Baby David is always crying from hunger because she leaves him alone for hours. Your wife threatened to destroy my family if I told you." For a moment, Richard was silent. Then his voice came through, cold and furious. "I'm taking the first flight tomorrow morning. Take Mary home. Don't be afraid. Linda will not touch you. She lied to you. Her father is not powerful. Her parents are poor villagers, just like her. She only wanted to scare you." After hanging up, Richard immediately called his friend, the police commissioner. "I want Linda Thompson arrested before I return. I'll explain everything when I arrive. Make it happen." By the time Rose and Mary reached the house, a police van stood at the gate. Officers were leading Linda away in handcuffs. "What is this?" Linda screamed. "Do you know who my father is?" "Save it for the station," one officer replied coldly. The next morning, Richard arrived home and pulled Mary into his arms. "Daddy's here now," he whispered. "Daddy," she sobbed, clinging to him. "We suffered. Auntie Linda refused to give me food one day because a kind man gave me extra money after buying bananas. She called me a witch." Richard's heart ached. "I'm so sorry, my love. I'll never leave you again. Daddy loves you so much." Rose quietly tried to slip away, but Richard stopped her. "You're not going anywhere. Linda will stay in prison for a long time. You'll remain here and help me raise my children." That afternoon, Richard visited his old friend Dr. Samuel at the hospital. After their greeting, Samuel leaned forward. "Richard, there's something you need to know. 2 months ago, a woman and her husband were in a terrible accident. He died, but she survived, with no memory of who she was. She's only now recalling small things. She has nowhere to go. I've been keeping her here in an empty room, but she can't stay forever." Richard nodded. "You've done well, my friend. Let me take responsibility. I'll rent her an apartment, cover her bills until she recovers. No one should be left alone like that." Samuel's eyes softened. "This is why God keeps blessing you. Your heart is pure." Together they walked to the room. The moment Richard entered, he froze. The woman sitting on the bed looked up, and his heart nearly stopped. It was her. His long-lost sister, kidnapped 15 years ago. His voice shook. "It can't be. Is it really you?" The woman's eyes brimmed with tears. "Richard, my brother." In an instant, he rushed forward, and they embraced tightly. "I thought I lost you forever," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I thought I would never see you again," she cried. Tears of reunion filled the room. After 15 long years, brother and sister were together once more. When Richard brought her home, Mary's eyes widened in shock. "Mommy?" she whispered. Her mother's face lit up as tears streamed down. "Mary, my baby." Mary ran into her arms, crying. "Mommy, I missed you so much. I thought you died in the accident." "No, my love," her mother whispered, kissing her head. "I'm alive, and I will never leave you again." "Mommy, I prayed for you every night," Mary sobbed. "And God heard you," she said softly. Richard stood watching, his heart overflowing. Not only had he found his sister, but Mary and David had been given back their mother. A miracle beyond imagination. A year later, joy blossomed in the family. Richard and Rose, whose bond had deepened through every trial, married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by loved ones. Months later, Rose gave birth to healthy twin boys. Richard held his children in his arms, looking around at the family he had built, a sister restored, a devoted wife, and 4 precious children filling the mansion with laughter. The shadows of the past were gone, replaced by love, healing, and peace. They had moved from tears to joy, from pain to love. And they lived happily ever after. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, share with friends, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more inspiring tales. Stay blessed.